What's up everyone, we're going to be going to the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,000 just yesterday, and another member who won $600 for the 7th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Mr. Briggs, who said always the unders, not gonna lie, makes me nervous, but you've been on a roll, and spammed up the 100 emojis. So shouts out to him, and also shouts out to Dwayne Porter, who said hell yeah. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick, and when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Derk Hami for 8.5 rebounds, and this one is for less. Now looking at Derk Hami, we actually have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now this one's an interesting one because what we do also see looking at those last 5 games, we do see July 14th face off against Connecticut Sun, she had 7 rebounds there. Then against Washington Mystics on July 16th actually had 6 rebounds in that matchup. Then 14 rebounds against Washington Mystics on July 23rd off a back-to-back. And then Connecticut Sun again on July 25th where she had 11 rebounds, and then 10 rebounds against New York Liberty on July 27th. So we have actually seen Derk Hami go on the under, as I've mentioned, 2 out of the last 5, but her average over the last 5 is also 9.6. Now coming into this game, it's definitely an interesting one because we do also see when it comes to Derk Hami, we do actually see Los Angeles Sparks have themselves a very interesting matchup against the Las Vegas Aces. Now looking at this matchup, we do know, looking at the Las Vegas Aces, looking at where both of these teams rank, Sparks do actually come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA. Now on top of that, they also do rank 6th in the Western Conference. So it is pretty interesting to see, you know, how they have done so far, but they also do have a record of 11 wins and 14 losses. So Sparks also have a 44% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 3-8 from home, also 8-6 from away, and currently are on a 5-game win streak. So they are on a 5-game win streak, so it's been very good for them. Now they are looking to definitely try to claw their way back into a better position, but they do face off against none other than the Aces. Now the Aces are ranked a little bit better. Aces come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, and on top of that, they also rank 4th in the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 13 wins and 13 losses, so that's a 50% win percentage. They're also 7-4 at home, 6-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak as well. So looking into that, obviously both of these teams are on win streaks, so you know both of these teams are looking to keep that win streak alive. But looking defensively at Las Vegas Aces, we do know the Aces do actually rank 10th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So they rank really or pretty low in that category. So why do we like the under for this situation here? Now, a big reason why we do like the under is that we actually do see that Las Vegas Aces actually do a pretty good job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. And we definitely see that being a huge effect coming into this game. On top of that, when we look at Derk Hami over the last 5 games, it is a little bit tough to actually go off this because she has faced off against Connecticut twice and also Washington Mystics twice, who do allow a lot of rebounds. And that's why we have seen her numbers as of lately be a little bit inflated due to easier matchups. Now that she faces off against the aces who do a great job, as I've mentioned, defending rebounds to the forward position, we should actually see her struggle in a little bit in this one. So because of those reasons, we definitely do like the under for this one. So keep an eye out for Derk Hami. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Derk Hami, 8.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than actually another fantastic player, and that is actually Angel Reese. So Angel Reese, great player, as we all know. This one, however, is for 14.5 points, and this one is for less. Now, looking at this matchup and also Angel Reese, we have seen Angel Reese actually go on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games, which is interesting to see. Now, on top of that, looking at the last 5, we see on July 9th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 22 points in that matchup. Then after that, faced off against Dallas on July 10th and had 15 points there. Then had 19 points against Minnesota on July 13th. Then July 15th, faced off against Minnesota, had 22 points in that matchup. And then Minnesota again, off a back-to-back-to-back, actually had 11 points on July 23rd. So we have seen Angel Reese face off against Minnesota quite a lot, and her average over the last 5 is also 17.8. Now, coming into this game, it is going to be an exciting one, and looking at Chicago, they do face off against Washington Mystics in this next matchup. Now, looking at Angel Reese and also Chicago Sky and where they do rank compared to Washington Mystics, starting off with Chicago come in at the 12th spot in the WNBA. And on top of that, they also do have the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 7 wins and 18 losses, so that's a 28% win percentage. On top of that, they're also 4-8 from home, 3-10 from away, and currently are on a 5-game losing streak. Now, when we look at Angel Reese, we actually have seen, coming into this matchup, have some pretty big points games. But coming into this next one's going to be interesting because they face off, as I've mentioned, against Washington Mystics, because Mystics do actually come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. They are in the same conference. They do rank 4th in the Eastern Conference, but 8th overall in WNBA, and have a record of 12 wins, 13 losses, a 48% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 8-5 from home, 4-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, coming into this next matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at Angel Reese, looking at, Washington defensively, we do see defensively, Washington Mystics do rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. So they do a pretty decent job. I would consider that to be high mid-tier in that category. Now, coming into this game, it's definitely going to be an interesting one because we do actually see Angel Reese coming into this game. We have actually seen her do a fantastic job at times, but Mystics do actually a fantastic job at restricting points to the forward position. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under for this situation here. We are expecting someone like Angel Reese to have a lot of that pressure on her defensively, and because of that, we could definitely see her go on the under in this situation. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also know that looking at the last 5 games, we've actually seen Angel Reese face off against Minnesota multiple times. Now, Minnesota are a great team, do not get me wrong, but Minnesota actually do struggle at restricting points to the forward position, even though they are a great defensive team. And we did see Angel Reese be able to take advantage of that multiple times. Angel Reese also over the last 5 games faced off against Dallas as well, so that's interesting to see. And although in one of those recent matchups was against Washington Mystics where she had 22 points, we believe that to be a little bit overinflated. There will be times where players beat their lines or their probable lines, and that was definitely one of those games. But coming into this next one, we do believe that the line now is a little bit overinflated, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, I would keep an eye out for the under for this one, especially for someone like Angel Reese. So keep an eye out for what, this line for 14.5. And also when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So that works out in our favor there. So Angel Reese, 14.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Azora Stevens. So, as I mentioned before, there are a couple of games, or only a handful of games for today. So, some of the matchups will actually, or some of the picks may have a little bit overlap in their matchups. But this one's another great pick for 13.5 points for Azora Stevens, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Azora Stevens, we do know that when it comes to her average over the last 5, she's actually averaged 17, and she's actually gone on the under in 0 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we have seen her play some pretty big matchups. We saw July 14th face off against Connecticut Sun, had 21 points there. July 16th face off against Washington, had 15 points. Then July 23rd faced off against Washington, had 15 points again, and Connecticut again had 17 points in that matchup on July 25th, and after that faced off against New York Liberty and 17 points on July 27th. So it was a little bit interesting to see there. Now, looking at Los Angeles Sparks, we do know they face off against, none other than the Las Vegas Aces. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game for sure, but looking at both of these teams, just to remind you all defensively and also ranking wise, we do know Sparks do rank 10th in the WNBA. They have a record of 11 wins and 14 losses, a 44% win percentage. But on top of that, over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 7-3. So they've actually done a really, really good job there. Now, when you look at their matchup, which is Las Vegas Aces, we do know Aces are in the same conference. They rank 7th in the WNBA, but also rank 4th in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 13 wins and 13 losses, and on top of that, they also have a 50% win percentage. They also, over the last 10 games, have a record of 5-5, so a little bit interesting in that matchup. Now, coming into this game, we do know Las Vegas Aces do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed, but however, when we look at Las Vegas Aces, as we've mentioned, in the past, it is really mattered on the actual per position basis, but we do know Las Vegas Aces actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the big man or big woman position. So, Aces do a fantastic job against forwards and centers when it comes to restricting points, and although Azora Stevens has definitely gone on the over quite consistently over the last 5, as we have always mentioned, matchups, that's what's most important, and with a matchup like this, we are definitely expecting the under for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for Azora Stevens coming into this game. Now, when we look at the Aces as well, we are also noticing that when you look at their defensive strategies against teams like Los Angeles Sparks, who have bigs that do a lot of or have a high usage rate out there, Aces do like to restrict them as much as they can. So we are also expecting that defensive strategy there. Now, look at what the bookies are saying. Bookies also have our favorite for the under as well. Works out in our favor there. So Azora Stevens, 13.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player you're going to be talking about is none other than Brittney Griner. Now, as you all know, Brittney Griner is a fantastic player for none other than Atlanta Dream, and she has done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 11 points, 5.7 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and also 0.1 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there for Atlanta Dream. Now, when we look at more in depth of this lineup, we do know Atlanta Dream do face off against Golden State Valkyries. Now, this definitely is going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at, Atlanta Dream and also Golden State Valkyries and where both of these teams do rank, we do know that when we look at Atlanta Dream, we do see that they rank 4th in the WNBA and also 2nd in the Eastern Conference. So they have a record of 15 wins and 10 losses. That's a 60% win percentage. They're 8-3 at home, 7-7 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak as well. Now, on top of that, they face off against none other than Golden State Valkyries, where Golden State Valkyries do actually rank 9th in the WNBA. So they have a record of actually 11 wins and 13 losses. That's a 45.8% win percentage. They are 8-4 from home, 3-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak as well. So it has been interesting for them there. Now, coming into this game, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but looking at Atlanta Dream, and the matchup with Golden State Valkyries. Looking at Golden State Valkyries defensively, we do know that they rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and 6th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So Golden State Valkyries actually do a pretty decent job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists. In general, they are a little bit mid-tier in assists and rebounds, but we definitely still see that being enough to see someone like Brittney Griner actually go on the under in this one. Now, a big reason for that is that when we look at Golden State Valkyries, we actually do see that they do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the center position. And for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We think on a per position basis, we are definitely going to see Brittney Griner struggle, and that's why we are sticking to the under. But looking at actually, Brittney and her last 5 games, we did see her face off against New York Liberty recently. We actually did see her actually score 10 points, had 10 rebounds, and 1 assist. Had a 79-72 loss there, however. Then on the 17th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had an 86-49 victory with 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 0 assists. Moving on from that, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces with an 87-72 loss with 9 points, 4 rebounds, and also 0 assists there. And then on the 24th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had a 90-79 win with 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, on the 28th, faced off against Minnesota, had a 86 win with 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it definitely was interesting to see. Obviously, we have seen that when it actually comes to Brittney Griner, she's gone on the over sometimes, gone on the under in other times, but coming into this matchup against the Valkyries, with a lot of the attention being on, restricting centers, as Golden State Valkyries do a great job at, we should definitely see her go on the under in this one. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one. We are definitely sticking towards it. So Brittney Griner, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to our averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Sug Sutton. So, Sug Sutton, great player, as we all know, and we actually do see that, Sug has done a fantastic job for Washington Mystics. We have seen her average 7.5 points, 1.7 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 1 steal. So, she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at Washington Mystics, we do know that they face off against Chicago Sky coming into this game. So, it is going to be an exciting game, but looking at where both of these teams do rank, we do see both are in the same conference, Eastern Conference. We did see Washington Mystics come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. They have a record of 12 wins and 13 losses. Now, they also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference, to be more specific. They have a 48% win percentage. They're 8-5 from home, 4-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. Now, looking at that, we also do see they face off against Chicago Sky. Now, Chicago Sky do rank 12th in the WNBA, so a lot lower. However, they do also rank just 5th in the Eastern Conference, so just 1 slot lower than the Mystics. Now, they have a record of 7 wins and 18 losses. That's a 28% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 4-8 from home, 3-10 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them there. So both of these teams have been on a losing streak. So coming into this next game, it is going to be an exciting one because someone is going to break their streak for sure. Now, looking at actually, where Sug Sutton is on this roster and where we actually see her going is when we look at Chicago Sky defensively, we do see Chicago Sky rank 11th in points allowed, 12th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. They do rank 5th. So they do rank higher in rebounds. However, coming into this game, we do actually like the over for someone like Sug for the points and assists category only. Now, a big reason for that is that when we look at also Sug, we actually have seen her have a higher usage rate in the points and assist department. So that's why we are focusing a little bit more at actually going on the over in points and assists compared to rebounds. And also on top of that, to even add more to it, when we look at rebounds as well for Chicago Sky, they do a great job defensively. So because of that, we do very much like the over for someone like Sug. It is definitely going to be in her advantage as she does have a good usage rate in both of those, departments. But when we also look at Sug over the last 5 games, we did see on the 14th, faced off against Seattle, had a 74-69 win with 2 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists there. After that, on the 16th, faced off against LA Sparks, had a 99-80 loss with 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists there. And then on the 23rd, faced off against the Sparks again with a 93-86 loss with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. Then on the 27th, faced off against Seattle Storm again with a 69-58 win with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Then against Phoenix had an 88-72 loss with 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So we definitely have seen Sug do a great job, but coming into this next matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one because we also do see that when we look at Sug Sutton, her usage rate has remained very high in the points and assist department, especially against, much easier teams. And we are definitely expecting her to be able to take advantage of that coming into this matchup against Chicago Sky. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over for this situation here. So keep an eye out for the over. Like I said, strictly just for points and assists. We see a lot of value there, but as I always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first. If the line is under averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Nalyssa Smith. So, Nalyssa Smith, great player, as we all know. And this one is a fantastic one. As Las Vegas Aces, she has actually averaged 7.2 points, 5.3 rebounds, 0.8 assists, and also 0.5 steals. So, she definitely has done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at actually Nalyssa Smith and the Las Vegas Aces, it is definitely going to be interesting because we do actually see that Nalyssa Smith faces off against the Los Angeles Sparks. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with the Aces, we do know that the Aces do actually rank, 7th in the WNBA. They have a record of 13 wins and 13 losses. That's a 50% win percentage. They are also 7-4 from home, 6-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So they are also, like I mentioned, ranked 7th in the WNBA, but they rank 4th also in the Western Conference, which is interesting to see there. Now, they face off against none other than Sparks, like we mentioned. Now, looking at Sparks do or are also in the same conference. They rank 10th in the WNBA, however, and on top of that, they rank 6th in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 11 wins and 14 losses. That's a 44% win percentage. They are also 3-8 from home, 8-6 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So they definitely have done a fantastic job there. When we look at the Sparks, it's definitely been interesting to see, as we have seen Nalyssa Smith against the Las Vegas Aces, with the Las Vegas Aces face off against a Sparks team that they have played in the past. And, looking at both these teams and both being on win streaks, it's going to be an exciting game as both teams are trying to continue their win streak for sure. But looking at Los Angeles Sparks and looking where they do rank defensively, Sparks do rank 12th when it comes to points allowed, 10th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. They actually rank 3rd. So they surprisingly rank high in that rebounding category. So when we look at this for Nalyssa Smith, we do actually like the over still for this situation, but strictly just for points and assists. Now, I would say more likely points due to the fact that when we look at Nalyssa Smith, she tends to have a higher usage rate in points rather than assists. So we definitely see a lot more value there in points more than anything else. But looking at actually, Nalyssa Smith and further, we have actually seen that, rebounds. Yes, Nalyssa is a great rebounder, but we are expecting Sparks to put a lot of that defensive pressure on her, which could definitely, cause a lot of problems there. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Nalyssa Smith, and we can definitely or are expecting her to actually go on the over in this situation here coming into this matchup. Now, like I said, keep an eye out for points, but looking at her last 5 games, you see against Dallas Wings, had a 90-86 victory, had actually 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 23rd, faced off against Atlanta Dream, had an 87-72 win with actually 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then against Indiana, had an 80-70 loss with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists there. After that, faced off against Minnesota, had a 109-78 loss with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against Dallas with a 106-80 victory with 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So it's definitely been interesting, for Nalyssa Smith over the last 5 games. She's definitely had some big matchups where she's gone very well in points. Other games hasn't really done too well. But as I've mentioned before, coming into this game, you do want to have to take a look at actually, the over for someone like Nalyssa Smith coming into this game. As, Nalyssa does have a higher usage rate in points compared to assists, so I am focusing a little bit more on points than anything else. So keep an eye out for the over for this situation here. So Nalyssa Smith for actually the over 4 points. Keep an eye out for that line. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Cecilia Zandalasini. Now, I am sorry if I butchered that name, but Cecilia, great player from none other than Golden State Valkyries. And as we do know, they face off against Atlanta Dream. But looking at Cecilia first and her averages, we do know she's averaged 8.4 points, 2.1 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and also 0.8 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do actually see that, Golden State Valkyries face off against Atlanta. And just to remind you all again where both of these teams do rank, Golden State Valkyries actually ranked 9th in the WNBA. So they have a really strong start to the season. They have fallen off quite a little bit, but they are still in somewhat a decent position. So they find themselves in the 9th spot, 11-13 record, as we've mentioned before, a 45.8% win percentage, but also over the last 10 games, they've actually gone 4-6. So they actually have done, a pretty decent job there. Now, looking at their matchup Atlanta Dream, they are doing a little bit better. They rank 4th in the WNBA. Now, they have a record of 15 wins and 10 losses. That's a 60% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 8-3 from home, 7-7 from away. And over the last 10 games, so over the last 10, they've had a record of 5-5. So they definitely have done well as well. Now, looking at this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. But looking at Atlanta Dream more specifically, we do know Atlanta rank 4th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 6th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We actually see them rank 1st. So Atlanta Dream actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists. Now, they are definitely a little bit lower in that assist category, but still, coming into this matchup, we do still like the under for this situation here. And the big reason being is that when we also look at Atlanta Dream on a per position basis, we actually see them do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to actually Cecilia's position. So that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. When we look on a per position basis, we are definitely seeing a more likelihood that Cecilia would go on the under there. Now, looking at our last 5 games, you see on the 13th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had a 104-102 loss with 12 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 15th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had a 78-77 loss with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in that matchup. And then on the 17th, faced off against Seattle, had a 67-58 loss with 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then on the 26th, faced off against Dallas, had an 86-76 win with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Then faced off against Connecticut with a 95-64 loss with 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it has definitely been interesting for Cecilia. Some games we've seen her go on the over, some games we've seen her go on the under. But coming into this next one, we do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Cecilia. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for this one, as we are definitely expecting, the under for Cecilia in points, rebounds, as assists. But as I've always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to our averages, then definitely look to go on the under.